Tom, the floor is yours.
And I would like to see us move forward with their recommendations. We heard from Wayne to move forward with the bottom three recommendations, 2, 3, and 4. So it sounds like perhaps that could happen with some of the discussion at the administrative committee, as I suggested. I think the first one, while perhaps we can't have some statement that every citizen of the city agrees with, I think that we should be acknowledging the concerns that have been expressed here. I think that I don't really understand what the intent of the council was if it weren't to welcome the Megaloads. I wasn't here at that meeting. I was out of town. When I read the news, that's how I read it. When members of our community read the news, the emails that we've received, the letters to the editor that we've received, the interpretation outside of this dais has been that that's the intent, that was the intent of the council action. And I think that it probably needs to be recrafted to better address the intent of the council if that's not the intent. And I think that perhaps the best way to do that would be to rescind that statement, that opinion statement, and recraft it. Maybe part of the recrafting could be acknowledging that many people won't like the Megaloads coming through here and will protest it and will spend money at various shops, and let's acknowledge the fact that the economic impact to the city of Moscow might be benefited by people protesting the Megaloads, which seems to be, I mean, from my experience when I go downtown.
Piehole's probably made a
fortune.
pile.
Among other places. So I think that perhaps there's, I don't know. For me, my suggestion would be to rescind the previous opinion statement and redraft it to be one that's more inclusive of people's opinions in the city.
Dan, you chair the administrative committee. It's coming
Yes, I
up
do,
on
and
September 12th to talk about compensation for police overtime.
Yeah, I think we can
on
expand
issue.
that.
So-
I think we can expand that issue to address some of the concerns here, the 4 points that the SEC made, and also some of Tom's concerns. So I think that's appropriate. We can revisit in that meeting and see what we can come up with for the next council meeting.
So we'll expand that descriptor for our agenda item for that to accomplish what Dan and Tom are talking about here. Please.
So I need to understand, are you saying that the discussion will revolve around whether or not to rescind the previous statement of the council?
Well, rescind, modify, however, just look at the statement, look at the SEC's recommendations, along with the proposal. I don't even know if it's a proposal yet, as far as whether we're charging Exxon or getting paid by Exxon for overtime for the police.
Okay. In my opinion, that would take a vote of the council, since the council has made a statement.
Right.
In the absence of a motion and approval to rescind that statement, if the direction is to take it back for further work, then I think it would be appropriate to have a motion on that.
Well, I move that we bring it back to administrative committee for further work.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have Dan's motion and Tom's second. Is there discussion? Sue?
I would be willing to have the overtime pay for police brought to administrative, but I think the other two issues are actually asking that ITD get more money for any damage to the road, not the city of Moscow, because ITD is the one that the state is who.
Right. I mean, but there are other points in the letter.
Right. So I wanted to make sure that the state's responsibility and the city's responsibility.
We can only do what we can do, so.
Yeah, no, I'm in favor of that.
Tom?
My feeling is that maybe one of the benefits that comes out of this relook is that we end up drafting a letter to the state of Idaho to look at that issue. I think that would be very helpful. I think that would be a very healthy thing for the city to do.
Wayne?
Well, I think that's all appropriate, and I think a new position statement could very well be a possibility. I don't think, however, it's necessary to rescind the previous one. Previous one simply stated that we neither supported nor condemned the megaloads. You can sit there and shake your head all you want, but now here's what I have to say about that. I get really concerned when we start saying we're not going to allow megaloads to come through town, or we don't support megaloads to come through town. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with FabTech, which is an industry just outside the city limits. FabTech makes rock crushing equipment, and they haul some very large loads. If we were to come out against megaloads and FabTech decided they needed to make larger and larger loads, would we then be saying that a local enterprise should not be allowed to use our highways? This is an issue that I start thinking we start walking a fine line when we do that. So I'm not going to come out against megaloads in general. And I don't think it's necessary to rescind the other position statement. I do support the discussion about going back to admin and putting together maybe another position report, because I do think that all the concerns that have been expressed over the last few weeks are important and probably should be brought to light also. But you have to understand that you don't comprise 100% of the population of Moscow. And there's a lot of people that either are ambivalent about it or they actually support it. And so I'll go back to my previous statement, is I don't know how we can make a position statement that represents all of the city's constituents. So that's something the admin committee, you guys can work on that and see if you can come up with something.
Sue?
I think when you brought up something that I had thought of earlier, and thanks for reminding me of it, coming out against megaloads in general, period, I'm not in favor of, because it's like which the large retail establishment ordinance is that if you don't, I heard a lot of testimony about Super Walmart, but then Target was okay, but yet it was, the ordinance was apply equally to everybody. If you come out against a megaload because you are mad at the tar sands, exactly, it could affect FabTech or somebody producing small airplanes or whatever. It's a great big wind tunnel, wind turbines. Thank you. I don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater, so I think I'm in favor of relooking at this at the admin and
Walter?
Just in case anyone has missed the point that I was the one that made the motion, I'll tell you that I did. It does not welcome anybody. Read it and read it and read it, and I would just defy anyone to tell me it welcomes the megaloads. The purpose of that motion, the intent of that motion, was to do what I thought we had accomplished, which was to get past it and let Highway 95 serve the purpose for which it was built, constructed, and is operated, and not to sit here over and over and over again and discuss this issue. Unfortunately, we're back here again. Highway 95 is a federal highway. It just happens to pass through Moscow. As Sue has already pointed out, it was changed into a one-way corridor to allow those chip trucks and other large loads to move more directly and not be right down the middle of our main street. It works horribly, but it works. I have worked for the 15 years I've been on the Transportation Commission and the Council to try to get those trucks routed around Moscow. We only had one downtown business that had a problem with trying to do that. People want the chip trucks out, but we're stuck with it. The highway is operated and maintained by the Idaho Transportation Department on behalf of the federal government, and the city of Moscow and its citizens, short of sitting in the street, which has been done, has very little, if any, control over what is transported upon it. It's not a city decision. I understand the problem with the Kearl oil sands. Go picket the Canadian Parliament. There's nothing the United States, State of Idaho, City of Moscow can do about what Canada does in their country. We cannot have a pipeline come down from it. And you can also try to stop these megaloads going up, but trust me, they will do what they wish to do, whether it's build it or not. The comment keeps being made about all the citizens and most of the people. I agree with what has already been said here tonight. My belief is that at least half, if not the majority, of the citizens of Moscow don't care about the megaloads. They're living their lives. If they hear about them, they don't care. I was surprised to see protesters downtown. I would have lost the bet, because I would have bet nobody would do that. I don't know who they were, where they came from. I was surprised to see them. People that are actually protesting bring the megaloads through. The ITD permit cost, I will support getting Tom Trail, Shirley Ringo, Dan Schmidt to write a change to the state law to raise those permit fees. I don't know what they are. I don't know how they're calculated, but I truly believe they're not paying back ITD for their time and effort on loads of this size. They probably should be raised. Again, it's not a welcoming statement. It was done in an intent to cut off debate on something that I saw that we could not control or stop. I will not support another policy that supports the megaloads or changes the way the previous one was written. I just don't think that we need to go there. There were, if I may just finish, there were 4 points in the letter from SEC. I don't see how we can do something representing all the city's constituents. I have no problem requesting from ITD a change in the permit process, although that's not really in the SEC's list. It's beyond our control. Thank you.
Is there other discussion? Okay, Scott, we missed anything? Okay. We have Dan's motion and Tom's second. Does anyone need that?
Restate the motion.
You'd make me do that one.
Yeah, well,
3 times, 3 readings.
I move that we bring this to the administrative committee, revisit it for taking into account the Sustainable Environment Commission's suggestions and seeing how it fits with our current statement.
Is that the understanding of the seconder?
Yeah, I mean, whether or not this letter or that letter gets written
Right.
finally, I just think that the point is that it goes there and we look at the different components that are brought up here and move through them.
Okay. With that repeat then, we'll start the roll call vote with Tim.
No.
Aye.
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 And in supporting, I'm voting aye in supporting the work of commissions.
No.
Okay, the motion carries.